Hello guys, it's Boka 392 here, and I'm gonna be trying out a little bit of a new long form video format, if you will. I'll be having Marvel Rivals gameplay from my stream in the background, which will be the video itself. But if you haven't read the title already, the purpose of this video is going to be, the series, or at least this video, potentially new series that I thought about doing, is going to be called Stories with Boka, where I share with you some hopefully interesting stories about my very uninteresting life. But if you do find this kind of thing interesting and you want to hear more about what I have to say regarding my weird and wondrous adventures in this thing we call life, hit like, hit sub, and join our Discord if you haven't already. It's pretty dead, but we're always looking for more people to join our lovely community. So yeah, treat this very much as like a podcast to listen to in the background. You don't have to watch the Marvel Rivals gameplay. It's pretty shit, honestly. I play Jeff, but I think I'm pretty okay at Jeff. But you can choose to watch it, or you can choose to just listen. If you prefer, that's totally up to you. So yeah, today's topic or topics is going to be Boka's uni adventures. Pretty much all the experiences I've had, or all the notable, interesting experiences I've had with being in uni for three years. Now, I haven't finished yet, and the reason I haven't finished is because I'm dumb. Literally. And also, because of some other reasons, but I'll get into that. So I'm gonna try to think about this in chronological order. So we're gonna start with the first major happening, which was math. Fuck math. All right, trigonometry, advanced algebra, sinus, cosinus, tangents, hypotenuse, whatever the fuck. I swear to God, we learned the Pythagorean theorem, but for some reason we have to learn like 50 other different ways to find all the angles of a triangle, because apparently Pythagoras' method just wasn't cool enough, it just wasn't fancy enough. Clearly we need to learn all the irrelevant methods to measure the angles of a triangle, and honestly, I don't know why I did pass on my first attempt on the math though, but I think they expected us to know a little bit more before going into that class, and I'm gonna be straight with y'all, I barely passed. But anyway, I'm a little bit unsure of the order, but if you don't know, I study renewable energy. And not every single subject that we are taught at my uni involves renewable energy. You could argue math is more relevant, and everything is relevant, but something I was not expecting was it's kind of architecture subjects later, but this is more like city planning type thing, like infrastructure. Like say you had like a water power plant, or like a water, or windmills and stuff. How do you configure the windmills compared to everything else around it? How do you make it so that they're less visible? The shadows, the noise. Can you see them from literally every single mountaintop in the area? And obviously I live in Norway, so we're pretty damn proud of our nature and how it looks. Tourism is a really big income stream, especially. Well, not only in the summer, but mostly in the summer. We get these big, like, cruise ships that come into the fjords, and they, like, yeah, we can talk about how they fuck up views and ruin nature in another video, but back to the topic of this one. So essentially, the first subject where we tackled something that wasn't necessarily only about renewable energy, was pretty weird. Essentially, instead of talking about why you were building said water power plant, you had to talk about how. We have to learn about maps. We had this whole map software that we had to learn called GIS or QGIS, basically GIS meaning Geographical Information System. And let me tell you what, if you've ever looked at like a cockpit, like all the buttons, joysticks, and all that, that's essentially how I felt looking at GIS, opening it for the first time. There are so many buttons that do so many different things. But the main point was to learn how to read maps, to learn symbols, and figure out where it's safe versus the not safe to build a thermal plant, a geothermal plant, water plant, windmills. Although, something interesting about windmills, obviously Norway has a lot more water power. In fact, 95% of our electricity source or our power source comes from water energy, but we have a decent bit of wind as well. And the thing that's interesting about wind energy is that obviously you don't want to build a wind park right next to a cliff where rocks can fall, or next to trees, because you need airflow. You want there to be because obviously the rotors, they can turn. Modern windmills have this like turning mechanism that can rotate 360 degrees, almost like how owls can look around like 420 degrees or 360, like turn their head all the way around. So windmills, other than being loud, big, and generally obstructing nature and like views and stuff, there really isn't any quote unquote safety precautions other than the windmills falling down. But I can't remember the last time I actually heard about a story of a windmill falling down. That is something that I'm not too sure has ever happened, at least to my knowledge, but I bet you could find something if you searched it up. But anywho, obviously what's most interesting for us isn't necessarily only what is, let's say, around the water power plant or like in the water power plant itself, but it's an infrastructure around the water power plant, like maintenance house. You have like parking lots you have to build. You need electrical like wires. I can't remember the name in English, since we obviously had all these classes in Norwegian for the most part, so a lot of the terms I probably won't remember in English. But you need like obviously high voltage electrical wires. And you need to build these like massive towers. Obviously, you need to connect everything to the grid. You need to build roads everywhere, and roads especially because obviously they travel for the most part usually they encompass the longest distance, and often these roads have to be built next to cliff face or mountains with unstable rocks, or let's say if it rains a lot and there's snow on top of the mountain, you could get snow avalanches, rocks falling. We call it a rock fall, or like a rock jump, which is smaller than like an avalanche or like a rock slide, but still can be pretty harmful, like break your windshield and still like make you crash. And all that we have to take into consideration, and not just during the summer or the winter. We have to take every season into consideration when we're choosing where to build these roads. So, and at the time, that was something I didn't even consider when I was, going into my first semester and studying renewable energy. I'm here to learn about renewable energy, not whatever the fuck this is. So I was flabbergasted, honestly. I was like, why the hell do I have to learn about like infrastructure and where not to build stuff? In my mind, all I wanted to learn was how stuff worked and how we utilize nature to produce renewable energy. But no, we have to learn we have to learn why we can't build somewhere, which in hindsight is relevant. I'm gonna be real, it is relevant, but so there you go. But in the end, I do think that, if I remember correctly, that class went okay. But then I had another math class in the semester afterwards, which I remember very vividly, and that one did not go super well on my first attempt. But that's gonna be it for this Yap session with Boka, or Stories with Boka. This episode, we of course were covering my uni stories, and that was only the first semester. In fact, there were a few topics that I actually hopped over, but if you'd like me to revisit this topic, or if you want me to talk about something different that you think might be interesting, do let me know in the comments below. Once again, thanks so much for watching. Hit like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and be sure to check out my streams if you're watching this on the 10th of January. My affiliate anniversary is tomorrow, 11th of January, and my birthday is on the 17th of January. So if you want to stop by from anywhere in between the 11th to the 17th, I'll be streaming maybe more than I normally do, but I'll at least be streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 4 p.m. Central European Time on Twitch and YouTube /Boka390. So that's gonna be it for today. Have yourselves a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon. Stay safe, take care of yourself. Don't do anything I want to do, but most importantly, never stop doing what you enjoy doing, my friends. That'll be all. Bye-bye!